And as the man on the Fender focuses attention on the higher portion of the guitar's neck, the drummer begins to illustrate why he traded in for proper sticks, rolling across the snares, crashing those cymbals with energy we'd yet to see from him, but knew he had in him. The drums were fucking phenomenal in this track. They
Yeah.
really. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy and it's John, and it's time to listen to some music. John, you are going to offer up something for me to go off and yes, your hands are working perfectly. You're going to offer me up something to go off and listen to. What'll it be?
Okay, so we have a band which I believe we might have discussed, mentioned, hinted at, glanced at, seen through binoculars. They're called Slowdive.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember talking about them, and on top of that, um, I've been getting like sometimes you'll go on to like Spotify and they'll have like suggested playlists for
All
you.
right, yeah,
I've been seeing them appear a lot in recent, in the last few months, and I've listened to snippets of some of their stuff, and it sounds intriguing, and I'm like, oh, I got to get back to that. Then you've brought them up, so it's kind of like I'm somewhat aware of them. I've heard a little bit of what they have to offer, but I haven't heard a complete track by them yet. So I'm kind of looking forward to using this as an excuse to kind of learn more about these guys. So excellent timing.
yeah. Right, so the track is called Golden Hair, and this is a live performance at the
Oh,
Best Kept Secret Festival.
okay.
But they
All
left,
right.
but I mean, it may have been the best kept secret, but they still filmed it. So,
So it's
luckily.
out there, and yet I'd never heard of it. So it's a little bit of both. So, all right, cool. Well, I've got everything I need. I'll go off and give this a watch and a listen and come back and let you know what I made of it. Guitar is really pretty. Accented by those splashes.
Lean at your window, golden hair.
Mm.
I heard you singing the midnight air. My book is closed. I read no more. Watching the fire dance.
Mm. Means a lot to her.
Singing and singing a merry air.
I like how the guitar has this like sort of quavering echo to it, and so does her voice. It like matches the sound and the tone of the guitar so well. Um, it's like they're a perfect pair for one another. Yeah, this is ambient and atmospheric and really pretty and clearly moving to this young lady.
Lean at your window, golden.
drums. Mm. Nice. These guitars are gorgeous. The way they're working together, all that sound that they've created is quite dense, and the deftness of the mallet strikes on the drums are absolutely superb. I kind of like how she kind of stepped off to like let this moment, these moments in this song kind of shine on their own. Um, there's kind of like a reverence for the music in that, and a lack of ego, which is great to see from anyone fronting a band. But yeah, her voice was gorgeous, but to end on that note about the the hair hanging out the wind, the golden hair, very Rapunzel esque, that imagery that she painted, and then to just kind of step off and let these guitars and drums really shine. Um, is great. Yeah, this sounds lovely. They're hushing it down. Okay, regular sticks now. Nice bass. Kind of filling things out. Great. Wow. Excellent. Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, that was fabulous, fabulous stuff. I mean, at times the song was moving like a glacier, like slow and methodical and seemingly unstoppable. And then it picks up with all this fervor and oomph and all these sounds collectively coming together to build this force. Was fabulous. I mean, great quintessential kind of, shoegazy stuff where they're toying with the dynamics of the music and the sounds therein, how it kind of blossoms and unfurls like watching a plant on a time lapse. Everything kind of just comes to fruition. And then they did like withdraw, and then they came back even stronger to the point where the drummer's going off perfectly syncopated with the strobe light, almost like his strikes are what cued the flashing of the strobe lights. Fabulous. I think that's, another reason why sometimes these live performances, what kind of illustrates why they're so great, right? When you capture moments like that, it really stands out and kind of leaves you in awe, really. Uh, yeah, this is a great performance, and the band, the name is almost indicative of the kind of sound you're going to get. I again, just having heard this is the only entire track by this band that I've ever heard. Um, and it just sounds like the perfect sound for a band with this name, if that makes sense. But yeah, this was great. I really didn't catch much of the lyrics outside of that like line where it's like lean out your window, golden hair, which again reminds me of Rapunzel. Outside of that like introductory or I don't know, introductory, the opening bit of lyrics, those stanzas or whatever, that's pretty much it. That's all we got from it. Frankly, that's all I really needed, but I would like to know the content of all of that, as I only caught that one line and maybe what it's about. Um, I don't know. I mean, this was a really, for me, it was a really enjoyable song, and it was moving to some degree. Obviously, it wasn't to the same effect as it had on the young woman there with the French braid and the sunglasses on her head. But I wonder why it would resonate with her, specifically from a lyrical standpoint. If there's something that I'm missing there, if not, and it's just because of how great the music is, I can't really say that I blame her. It was a really really pretty song, um, with just a deft hand with the guitars and the drums, no doubt about it. So yeah, I'd like to learn more about this tune and this band that's kind of been on my radar. Like I said, I've seen them pop up here and there, and I've heard little bits and pieces of songs, but never really sat down to give them the full, deserved listen of an entire track. But now that I have, I like what I've heard. So hopefully John can fill in some of these gaps for me and learn me up on these guys. So let's get back to him.
Fiddler's Green, he's back. So, Golden Hair and all its delights you've listened to by Slowdive. What do you make of it?
Well, so first of all, like excellent. visuals and production and all this stuff for a live,
Yeah,
show.
good footage, wasn't it?
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and the sound was mixed well or captured well or edited well, whatever, all or some of those things. It's all to make the point or underscore how good it sounded for a live performance. So kudos to them. Slowly we get some like ambient guitar that echoes with this resonance as your man methodically picks his way through the notation on that semi-hollow. And it's accented by some like light splashes by the drummer using those padded mallets. More on him later. Then the singer joins in, and with her delivering the lines. Her delivery was really similar to what the guitar was doing. Like she had this quavering tone that is atmospheric and ethereal, and it really matched a lot of what the guitar was doing as well. So they really were really working in tandem to build all this atmosphere and sound, and just really good stuff. Then the camera pans to the crowd, and we can already see this is having an effect on some in attendance as we encounter this young lady with a French braid and the sunglasses mounted on her head. She looks really emotionally connected to the song. Also,
Already. Yeah.
yeah, like this song is her favorite song in the whole wide world. You could tell just by her.
She's had a big day already, I think.
Probably. So, and it's interesting because they pan to her several times throughout the
Yeah.
show or this performance, which is, really interesting as to why they did that. But I mean, I guess if for nothing else, it's because of how much she was making a connection with this song,
Yeah.
which is really nice to see because we all have those songs that kind of like hit us sometimes, and it looked like she was experiencing that. So, the singer then delivers the line, "Lean out your window, golden hair," which is one of the few lines I caught, and one of the few lines lyrically of the whole song in general. I mean, she kind of makes this like appearance in the beginning and then kind of steps aside to let the music stand alone, which I actually commended her for because we've talked about egoless front people in bands. I think Maynard comes to mind when we talk about his stage presence and how he just kind of is off in the back. And she kind of like allows the music to stand alone. It isn't up there moving or anything like that. It's just like she's appreciating it as much as the rest of us in the crowd. I thought that was kind of really admirable of her because
Yeah.
you just think ego when you think of
There's
Go ahead.
There's a shot in it about 3/4 of the way through of her just standing there, sort of
Yeah,
appreciating
yes,
it, which
yeah,
is really
exactly.
nice to see. Yeah,
Yeah,
like she's
yeah.
in the wings, almost.
Yep. So anyway, this line like makes me think of like the fairy tale Rapunzel, but it's the only line that I catch out of the whole thing because of the lack of vocals throughout what is a fairly long song in this live setting anyway. And the bass joins the mix finally, and kudos to bass. I see he's got Music Man by Ernie Ball as well. He's got the black on black one. It was looking pretty nice, pretty slick. And it sounded really nice too. And the progression of the music at this point reminds me of how a glacier moves. It's slow, but it moves with this seemingly unstoppable intent, as each note and strike of the drum crawls forth from the band. And at the 2:49 mark, the drums become slightly more pronounced, and soon the guitars begin to do the same. And your man on the Fender joins the gentleman who's playing the semi-hollow, and together they become louder, creating this swelling effect. And in a way, it's almost like watching the time lapse on the blossoming of a flower or a sapling coming into its own, or even like something like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, and in that time lapse form where it's becoming something and you're witnessing it. So that was really, really neat to kind of get to witness. And by the time we're into the 4th minute of the song, the guitars are more fervent and powerful, strumming high on the neck and producing more and more sound. But as we hit the 5-minute mark, they pull back and withdraw into this lighter ambient work as the bass and drum shuffle on with this light precision. But it's all done for the purpose of rebuilding momentum. And I think that's one thing that we all know about, like, anything that is shoegaze or it is influenced by shoegaze and takes elements from it. And that is this, destroy to rebuild kind of forest fire mentality that they have with how, they toy with sound dynamics, create loud to then create quiet to rebuild loud again. And so we have that kind of like unfurling before us. And rebuild they do as the drummer finally trades in his mallets for true drumsticks, and both guitars ramp up again, fortifying this shoegazy wall of sound that washes over me and the folks in the crowd. And as the man on the Fender focuses attention on the higher portion of the guitar's neck, the drummer begins to illustrate why he traded in for proper sticks, rolling across the snares, crashing those cymbals with energy we'd yet to see from him, but knew he had in him. The drums were fucking phenomenal in this track. They really were. As much as I love all the sound that the guitars were building, it's his precision.
It's the impact.
Yeah.
Real impact.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This only increases and intensifies as the drum work begins to mirror the accompanying strobe light that is now frenetically going off, and the two seem to be inextricably linked to one another. It's as if the drum strikes are what are summoning the flashes, and that's really cool from a cinematography standpoint, and really from a live staging and lighting. Like whoever the lighting engineer is on that, great work. Because everything was like syncopated and working together in unison, and it had this like overwhelming kind of effect. I can only imagine how even cooler and more intense it would be to actually witness it live and in person. So really admired that. So then the song reaches its climax and the drums fall back, and we are left with this resonant whirring of the guitars as their shimmer slowly fades, and beneath is a slight rumbling of the bass for a moment, and then the music stops as the camera captures again the woman in the crowd, still moved by this really great performance. This was beautifully ambient and another classic example of how to expertly use dynamics in sound to manipulate mood and the feel of the music. And the experience of being able to watch it unfold live on stage only added to my experience and enjoyment. This is a great way to check these guys out and get an idea of what they have to offer. I knew when I listened to those little 15-minute blurbs that you could sort of like test run on Spotify that I was getting shoegazy stuff. This let me see it big picture, and not so up close and at a snippet. So I enjoyed all of it, man. It was a great shout, great live performance, great job by them, great shout by you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is an interesting one for a couple of reasons. I would say in terms of the overall, if you looked at their career overall, this is past the midpoint, as it were, and they developed their sound away from the initial shoegaze into a bigger sound, and they tried it unsuccessfully a while back, but they've done it again to great success. In terms of the performance, I just think it's just absolutely awesome, and it really illustrates some of the best things we've talked about many times before with what is essentially a song in two halves, and the second half is the majority of is instrumental, and it's just this beauty and this sort of swirling you can get from great instrumental tracks, and this had all emotional impact there without a word being said. But yeah, so the song really is two halves, and because of that, I'll give you the information in two halves. So Slowdive, they're from Reading. They were formed in 1989, and they're classed as shoegaze, dream pop, and ambient, amongst other things. And they were probably at the start the quintessential shoegaze band when the term was first coined as an insult by the music press. Inexplicably, they seem to receive most of the derision as grunge and Britpop came in to turn the heads of said music press. There's a couple of bands that really got sort of the backlash from shoegaze, and Slowdive was probably right in the firing line. Bands like Ride never did, My Bloody Valentine never did. Lush changed, but Moose, Slowdive, yeah, definitely got it. So, personnel. Neil Halstead, founding member, was plays vocals, guitar, keyboards. Rachel Goswell, vocals, guitar, keyboards, tambourine. Nick Chaplin, bass. Christian Saville, guitar. And Simon Scott, drums, percussion. And also since 2014, he also plays guitar and electronics sometimes. So after they started with some few EPs, Got a couple of them here.
And
They are
John, just for the sake of clarity here, and if you mentioned this, forgive me, but what year did they form?
1989.
89. Okay, wow. That's they when you were saying how, the coinage of, using shoegaze as a pejorative, I started to realize in that moment, oh, these guys have been around a bit longer than I had thought.
The original, yeah,
Okay.
shoegaze, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
they were. So they brought out a few EPs. I got the first couple. They are reissued. I do remember them coming out. I think I had this on. Yeah, I did have this on. Would have been one of the first CD singles I bought, I think. But yeah, that's our first EP, Slowdive. I know you're talking about the sort of ambient sound of like a flower opening or whatever. There's a video for this. It's the title track, which is a decent lick. It's a good 8 odd minutes at least. And basically, this is the thumbnail on the video, and it slowly changes color. But it's so slow in the video, you barely notice it. And after 2 minutes, you think, wasn't that green? And it's purple now? And you're like, hang on a minute. It's a beautiful thing, it really
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah, and this is a great EP as well. Morning Rise, really good as well. And they're all like, singles of the week, lauded by the press. And then they brought out their debut album in 1991, Just for a Day, which didn't go down quite so well. Their follow-up, Suvaki, here we are, yeah, I've got it here, is one of the best shoegaze albums there is, definitely. In 1993, and it's just essential, for that sort of that first iteration. Their third album, Pygmalion, 1995, the band broke up shortly afterwards. They tried something different that didn't quite work in terms of reception wise. But so what happened after that is they went off and did other things, Maui 3, things like that. But they reformed and started playing festivals in 2014, hence this performance. And then we talked about this in another episode. They brought out their self-titled album in 2017, a mere 22-year gap from the last third to the fourth album. And we're saying how long it takes when bands bring out the self-titled album. Funny that. And then and it was a real success. And again, it was a development in their music as well. And then their last album, Everything Is Alive, back in 2023. So this track, they were knocking around right at the start of their career, and it features on the bonus tracks on the 2005 reissue of their first album, Just for a Day. So you got the normal album and then the bonus tracks appear, and this is on it. So I'll go through the lyrics and then I'll tell you about the origins of the song, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, please.
Lean out your window, golden hair. I heard you singing in the midnight air. My book is closed, I read no more. Watch the fire dance on the floor. Singing and singing a merry air. Lean out the window, golden hair. So the first part of this song is a cover of Syd Barrett's song, Golden Hair. It's from his debut album, 1970 album, The Madcap Laughs. Now, I will perhaps get a track from this and give it to you, because there's a fucking tale and a half about how they managed, the guys in the band, Gilmour, etc., trying to get this recorded with Syd when he was falling apart. Really interesting. So the lyrics are taken from a James Joyce poem. So from the website Byron's Muse, it goes, lean out the window, golden hair. I hear you singing a merry air. My book was closed, I read no more. Watch the fire dance on the floor. I have left my book, I have left my room, for I heard you singing through the gloom. Singing and singing a merry air, lean out the window, golden hair. There's some blurb on this. So the poem Golden Hair was part of a collection called Chamber Music by James Joyce, published in May 1907. It is a collection of lyrical meditations characterized by their musicality, for they are written more like lyrics for songs than usual poems. It's not surprising Syd Barrett was inspired by this beautiful poem and decided to put it to music. Even though it appeared on Syd's debut album, The Madcap Laughs, after he left Pink Floyd, Golden Hair is actually one of Syd's very first songs that he wrote. It was made at a time he was experimenting with setting poetry to music during the Cannabis Idyll, it says, in Earlham Street in 1966. In Golden Hair, Cold from Chamber Music, a slim verse Joyce wrote in 1907, a troubadour yearns for a Rapunzel locked in a tower. With simple bar chords, Barrett conjures a solemn air akin to a medieval madrigal. Its cadence is pure plain song, chanted words over bar chords, with the first of his thrilling downward octave leaps at the end. And that was by that little writing there was by Julian Pedicosis, his name is. So yeah, it's a really simple song. It's about a 2-minute song, and it's just strummed almost like a medieval sort of singer. And he sings, and so she does a really good job of imitating. I will get a feel of Sir Barrett. And again, you say about the guitar, it's interesting you picked up. It's exactly what they were going for.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great. And then the second half of the song has absolutely nothing to do. So Sid's rendition of Gone Hair this is the write-up still, leaves the listener engulfed in a world of shadows, longing and mysticism, in a wistful and melancholic mood, denuded of earlier psychedelia and its vividness, the decadence of the 1960s finally exposed. Yeah, great write-up that. So the second part is all Slowdive, and it is glorious. The blue-haired girl is just a random member of the audience. She did get a lot of shit from people as this sort of went onto YouTube, sort of like, targeting her, but she's just a random person who just was having a great time, and for
didn't
whatever
ask
reason,
to be filmed.
no.
Yeah.
But people have inferred all sorts of things. So yeah, I just think it's a wonderful sort of musical trip, and they do create this beauty within it, and it's interesting. It's definitely got its roots in shoegaze, but it isn't shoegaze, and you see how you can develop it. And I think that's brilliant that they've done that. Best Kept Secret was a 3-day music festival held inside the Beekse Bergen, which is an amusement park within the village of Hilverenbeek in the south of the Netherlands. And it's been going since 2013, so this was the second year ever. And in 2014, the other bands headlining were Elbow, Franz Ferdinand, Interpol, and Pixies. So it's a hell of a weekend, actually.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a little taster. I will give you perhaps another Slowdive song that's more actually them rather than a cover. But this is them, really. It's
I
just
was going to say,
intro.
2/3 or 3/4 of it, I'm sure very much was them. But
yeah. But I'll give you one of their earlier stuff so you can see the difference as well, and the real pure shoegaze that grabbed people when they first started out. I think it's really interesting. And then their later stuff is just, again, really, really interesting and different. That gives you a little taster. There you go.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Excellent. Oh, I'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy.
Thank
folks
you.
out there, tell us what you think. Please hit the like button if you like this, and drop us a line if you do have golden hair. Perhaps you have it, you keep it in a drawer or in a cupboard under the stairs like I do. Please let us know what you think of this performance, this song. Wonderful Mr. Sid Barrett as well. Just slap all your comments in. We love hearing from you. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I really appreciate everybody who supports this channel. We need all the support we can get. That being said, thanks again so much for watching. I will see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.